Okay, so I thought I might start a little bit of a gardening vlog, and here is the first little bit that I'm going to share. So this is our front yard, our top grass area, and we have this big sweeping bed that goes all the way around, and Tim and I recently widened this by about a foot because I am going to continue this the Korean box around the pot. I'm going to fix up this bit so that it continues around the pot, and I'm going to plant the Korean box all the way along the edge of this garden bed. So that's why we widened it. And then today what we've done is we've put down a trailer load of fresh new garden soil, and I've transplanted a few things, moved some things, and popped in some things. So let's have a look at what we've done today. So this is what the kids have been doing today. I found this big juicy snail in the garden bed while I was weeding, and the kids have made it a beautiful home.
Her name is Daisy.
Her name is Daisy, and they've been picking all my pretty little flowers.
We couldn't get flowers from anywhere else. We don't have money.
And they've made Daisy this beautiful home to live in. Look, they've got a branch here, a rock for sunbathing, all pretty flowers. Good job, kids.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Mom.
On the weekend I tidied up this little area of the vegetable garden. This had become really weedy, lots of grass in here, so I had to, and the fence was sort of leaning down, and this part of the fence had completely fallen down and the dog was getting in. So I tidied all this up and I redid the fence, weeded all in here. I put these 2 corrugated iron bits here so the dog can't get through. And what I'm on the hunt for is a climber. Oh my god, the type of climber has just escaped me. The ones that have like big beautiful flowers. Oh my god, that's really annoying. Don't you hate when that happens? I've got one in a pot at the moment and I'm waiting to see what flowers it blooms, because then I can put it on here maybe. Clematis. A clematis. So I can't do a rose because roses just get decimated here by the possums. So if I try and do a climbing rose here, I know that the possum is just going to sit up here on the awning and it's just going to climb on here and it's just going to eat the roses. It eats the leaves. It doesn't eat the roses themselves. It eats the leaves. It eats the fresh new leaves. And so I just know that if I try and put a rose here, it's going to be decimated. I may attempt to do a rose on this side, to climb up this way, and a clematis on this side. Also, it means that the clematis I think will do really well on this side because its roots will be in the shade predominantly, but obviously because they like to have their roots in the shade and their flat leaves in the sun, so that way it can grow up here. So anyway, so I tidied all this up. You can see that back here, these logs here are to do the Isabellina fruit trees, which I'm really hoping we get done this side of Christmas. And so obviously all this needs to be weeded, and I've started weeding the pathway up here. So the vegetable garden is still looking a bit of a mess, but I'm slowly just tackling little bit by little bit. So let's go have a walk in the vegetable garden. Okay, so in the vegetable garden, this is the bit here that I've weeded, and I've got mulch. I need to re-mulch here. This bed last year I had my zinnias in, and this year I'm possibly not going to do that. I think I'm going to put the zinnias down in the front yard, and I might dedicate this bed to melons because I do have some melons. I weeded this little section here. I've got some pots that I want to bring into the garden space in here as well, and so I need to try and find a home for that. Tim has just been in here and he's just whipper-snipped all the weeds and grass down, so that's really good, because what I want to come in now is with some cardboard in this area here. I'm going to lay cardboard down. I'm going to lay some compost down, and I'm going to plant some pumpkins. This is going to be a big pumpkin patch. I've got quite a few different pumpkins that I've got in seeds, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to mulch with I like to use the sugarcane mulch, so that's what I'm going to do in this section this season. I need to just make sure that I cut myself a path down to the water tank down here. This is the herb garden, and as you can see I need to get in and weed this, and I think I might change up how I look at placing herbs in the vegetable garden, because I don't know, I feel like I could better use this space, and the more that I read about companion planting, the more I want to intersperse the herbs in amongst the vegetables, because they are great at deterring the non-beneficial bugs. This is my olive tree, and I'm hoping that I might get some fruit from it this growing season. It's looking its best it's ever had. It's looking really healthy. I repotted it in it was either in autumn or winter, and it's pushed a lot of fresh new growth this spring. So not that I really eat olives, but my neighbours do, so I might be able to offer them some olives, but it's looking really good at the moment. So next on the list is to tackle these two little garden beds either side. I did have beans that did sprout, but they've since fizzled out. And what I think I'm going to plant this year is a tomato on either side. So maybe a big tomato and a cherry tomato. And then I can train the tomato up the arbor, and I'll interplant with some marigolds and basil. I will relocate these lovely little nasturtiums, which are just starting to take off now. I might interplant them in amongst the other beds, but that's next on the list to do. I'm going to go down to Bunnings tomorrow and see what is available tomato wise. So you can see here I need to redo these steps. I need to weed all this area and mulch it again. Got some calendulas in there that my neighbour gave us, and some weeds in here. So I need to think of what I can plant in there. I'm thinking some kind of companion plant. Maybe it's a rosemary in there. That might be good in there. Oh, I think I've got a dahlia that's sprouted. That, or it's a weed. Let's check this out. It's a bit early for the dahlias to come up, but that definitely is coming out of the spot where it grow. You can see the old stalks from last year, and this definitely looks like fresh dahlia growth. I was going to dig up my dahlias in the next couple of weeks and separate them, but it looks like I won't be digging up that one. This one over here has also sprouted, but this one is a bit of an odd one. And I'm actually considering getting rid of this one. It doesn't really flower like a true flower. And then it looks like this might be a weed or it's a dahlia. No, that looks, I don't know, I'll have to ferret. No, that's coming up where there was a dahlia. I think this was one that I grew from seed. It's a fillet flower one that I put in here, and it didn't really, or it's my cafe latte. I'm gonna have to dig up my planting plan. But that's interesting to see that three of them have sprouted. A bit early for that to be happening, I feel like. That normally doesn't happen till October. Okay, so this pathway needs to be all weeded. I weeded this bed last week, not on the weekend, but sometime last week. And I've planted all my potatoes in here. So I've got all potatoes in here. I do have some peas over here that are not looking very happy. Do have a little flower bud. I have a flower on this one, but he's also, because he hasn't grown up properly, he's a bit not quite right. And I haven't been out here to kind of help them. So anyway, they're not looking the best. I've got more seeds. You can see, look at this little guy down here. So I'm gonna pop in some more seeds, I think. This is my pineapple sage, which I cut all the way back, and it's fleshed out beautifully. It amazes me how much that smells like pineapple. I've got this beautiful lavender in here, which smells lovely. But it kind of got squashed by nasturtiums, and I've had to put in some stake support to kind of lift it back up, especially as the potatoes grow up. And then I've got a little perennial flower plant there, I can't remember what it is, and a salvia, and then this big salvia as well. This might be the last season that this one stays here. It's gotten a bit big. I might try and relocate that somewhere. Then over here, the new thing in my vegetable garden are these wonderful veggie cages that my father-in-law built me. He also built all these retaining walls for me. But if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I came out to discover I did have my cabbages covered with just like a bird netting, and I came out to discover that my two beautiful heads of cabbage had been they were almost ready to pick, and they can been completely eaten back down to the nub by possums. I'm guessing possums, because we have a lot of them around here. And I was heartbroken, but the good news is they have started growing from where they got eaten, these new heads, and it looks like there's going to be more than just one, so there's like 3. I'm just going to drop the lid down. So there's like 1, 2 and 3, and then 1, 2 and 3. So ha ha to you possums, I'm going to get 6 cabbages now instead of just 2. Well, fingers crossed anyway. And then these purple ones, they didn't eat these ones as badly, so they're sort of just starting to kind of form their heads as well. But since having the cages, obviously nothing has eaten them, and I haven't even noticed really any caterpillar damage either, or slug damage. So that's fantastic. In this one here, they also ate, I had 2 kale, and they completely decimated that. But kale is a perennial, obviously, so it has grown back and it's looking quite lovely now. And I will harvest these. I'll keep cutting them and just keep harvesting them. And then I've got beetroot in here, and I think that might be, yes, got some little beetroot seedlings just starting to pop through now. Go, so that's really good. Yep, got quite a few little seedlings in there coming up, so that's excellent. And then I've got some sorrel over here. This one has been in here for a good 2, maybe 3 years now. Sorrel's really great because it's a perennial, and you can cut it all the way back to nothing and it will just regrow again. And then I've got some little baby sorrel plants, and you can see they get eaten by things, but they just push up new leaves. And I'm pretty sure these are some beetroots as well that I planted and again have gotten munched on. And then I have sown some seed in here. I can't remember what I put in here, but it's looking like some of the seeds that I've popped in are starting to come up. I think I put spinach and something else in here, lettuce maybe. I think I put some spinach and lettuce in here. So there are some weeds, and sometimes I kind of need to let the weeds grow up so that they're big enough so that they're easier to pull, and B, so I know that I'm pulling a weed and not a seed that I've actually planted. So in this cage I've got my carrots, which the possums also munched pretty much all the way down, but fortunately they have all sprouted new leaves. And I did pull a few of them out. They're not the biggest yet, so I've decided to leave these ones in. I'm going to give them a feed and hope that they bulk up a bit. And on the weekend I did sow something in here, and I cannot for the life of me remember what it was. Possibly some spinach or something. This is some Chinese, I think, broccoli. But it's basically didn't really get any of the broccoli florets for it, and it's just gone to flower, but it looks nice and healthy. So, and possums aren't eating it, so I've left it. Just noticed on here, if I can focus in on him. There we go, there he is, little spider. He's quite pretty. So my little primulas here are doing exactly what I wanted them to. Unfortunately they haven't beaten out the weeds, so I do need to pull out the weeds, but they've been flowering since August, and they just look so pretty there. I'm really hoping that they just seed themselves all around all the cracks and flower. And then my primulas up here, they're starting to go over now, but they were looking so beautiful, and I'll put some photos and videos in of them. And again, same thing, I'm hoping they will self-seed themselves. And I have had these, sort of like, I guess you call them the annual primulas, but I have had these ones sort of die back and come up again. So they were looking really beautiful. They're looking a bit worse for wears now. And then my poppies look to be pretty much finished. They did look really beautiful, but my parsley is going great. The possums love to eat this, which is why it's got a cage around it. And then over here we've got a mess and tangle of weeds. Rocket that has gone completely to flower, but I've left it because it's good for the pollinators, and you know, it looks pretty. And then here are my sweet peas, which are starting to really put on a lot of growth, but I really need to come in here and, as you can see, kind of help them to kind of climb into this arbor. I can't remember what they are that I planted. They've grown from seeds, and they were pretty pastel colours. So this one has some flower buds starting to come on, and I've got a couple of small ones over there. This side of the garden bed here doesn't get as much sun, so they're a bit behind in their growth. This weedy garden bed here is one of my other dahlia beds, so I need to come in here and weed this and then lift all the tubers and divide them and hopefully not mix them up. And then Tim's just been up and whippersnipped all this back area, and there's 2 beds here. I will come in and I will weed these 2 beds, but the rest of this back area, I think I'm just going to let all this just die down into the ground and just plant into it. I have put fresh soil on this area here and this area here last year, and what I think I'm going to do this year is I want to grow my corn, some beans, and what's the other plant? Pumpkins possibly as well, or melons or something, and do like that 3 sister planting. So to do that, I just need to work out how I'm going to manage the weeds, because I don't want to have to weed this. It's just going to be too hard. I kind of want to suppress it somehow. So I may use cardboard, and then I might make little planting pockets in the cardboard for the seeds, and then mulch heavily over the top of it. So it'll be a bit of an experiment, this top area, but obviously it's a great area to put all like the vine crops, because they can just sprawl around. So if I can keep the weeds away from sort of the roots of the vine crops, we'll see how we go. This is my little wildflower meadow, and I did have straw mulch, and that's what this grassy looking stuff is. That's actually from the straw. So I will hand pull that stuff. Oh, I've got a foxglove here starting to flower. So these foxgloves all came up last year, and it looks like most of them are going to reflower again. I did throw some more sort of cottagey seed out here, but I can't really see that anything else has come up. What I think I might do is raise some seedlings to pop in this area, some things that will self-seed. The feverfew, I throw that seed around in here, and that all sort of self-seeds too. So that's a look at the vegetable garden. So still a bit of work to do, some maintenance work, and getting all the beds ready for crops for this coming growing season. Okay, so yesterday I made this rock wall edging and pathway. This is our lower front yard. So we are off a private drive at the end of a cul-de-sac, and this is our lower front garden bed. And so yesterday I built the steps a few months ago now when we put the lights in, and yesterday I did this rock edging, and today I had my husband, we had a trailer load of soil and I had him bring all the fresh soil over the top. I sort of forked over this area had all been mulched with timber wood chip, so I kind of forked all that over to loosen it up and so it wasn't super compacted, and then we've just put the soil straight on top. It's still quite a thick layer of soil, probably at least 5 to 10 centimeters. So what I have now done, and so this is a cherry blossom tree which I actually transplanted in winter from down here. Wasn't doing so well down there, so I put it up here, and it hasn't flowered but it has pushed new leaves, which I'm very happy about. I haven't lost it. It's not looking wonderful, but now that it's in this new location, it's got some fresh soil around it, and I will baby it a little bit with lots of fertilizer this spring and summer. So hopefully it will sort of take off now. But what I have just done in this area is I have sown, and I'll put my what I've sown, I'll list it below if I remember. If I don't, email me. What I have sown in here is a whole heap of different varieties of Zinnia and Cosmos. So right from here all the way through here and all the way up to the top here. So I did short varieties at the very tippy top here and along this front edge. Then I came in behind that with the medium-sized varieties and sort of swooped it around and across the front here. And then with the taller varieties, I came in through the back, this middle section, and through the back up here. And then because, you know, this area, as you can see, it gets a lot of sun, and I am a little bit short on space in the vegetable garden, and I have a lot of pumpkins and melons and cucumbers and different things that I've ordered this year to try out. I googled to see if I could undersow the Cosmos and Zinnias with beans, because I had a whole heap of beans, and some of my pumpkins and zucchinis, and Google said yes I could. So you know what, that's what I did. So I popped in a few zucchinis along this part here, and then I've got these little baby pumpkins. They're like little tiny pumpkins, and I've sort of put them along the front here, and some other smaller pumpkins in around this area. And then I dotted beans all across the back because I figure they might ramble up the rocks and just ramble in. Now obviously when it comes to harvesting the beans, you know, it might be a bit difficult, but it's more just to, I figure if I've got vine crops on the ground, it will kind of smother out as much of the weeds as possible. And it will, you know, help to have cool roots for the Zinnias and the Cosmos. So it's an experiment, and we'll see how it goes, and I will certainly report back on how it turns out. But I thought better than just having all that bare soil, I might as well fill it as much as I can with everything that I've got. So that's what I've done. So come summer, hopefully this will be a riot of colour, and hopefully I'll have some beans and zucchinis and sweet little pumpkins to harvest. My only concern is wallabies and possums. So traditionally in the backyard when I've planted Cosmos and Zinnias, the possums have not eaten them, and I never really have a problem with slugs. So I'm hoping that that's okay. Now they have eaten pumpkin and like zucchini shoots before, so I may, when they come out, what I might do is come out with like little cages just over each little, or like a little pot cage over each one until they sort of grow big enough to not be eaten. But my other concern is wallabies. So we do get rock wallabies or bush wallabies that come up from the reserve down here, and they have been known to, I mean, they've stripped this tree. That's why I've moved it from down the lower section here, because they would just come and eat the fresh leaves. So far, being up here close to the house, they've not touched it. But they do come up and sometimes eat the roses, or the possums eat the roses. So that's my only concern, is I hope they don't come up and see these fresh Zinnia and Cosmos seedlings and decide to eat them. So if I do notice that they sort of start to be nibbled at, I'll just come out with some chicken wire fencing, just like temporary fencing, and I'll just fence off this whole section. But we'll wait and see. I'm not going to do that yet. Obviously, we've got to wait for everything to come up. So anyway, I'm really looking forward to, I think it will look absolutely spectacular if I can get it all to germinate and not get eaten. I think like it's just going to be a wash of colour through here in summer, and that is really exciting. So I'll definitely keep you updated on the progress. Okay, so to round off my September garden vlog, I'm going to have a little walk through the cottage garden beds. So this is our backyard, and we've got a split level backyard, and it's on a bit of a slope. And this, what you're looking at here, this front bed, which has the rocks down the bottom and the Japanese box hedge, is my big perennial bed. This bed is now, I think, 3 years old, and it's come a long way. There are things that have gone in and come out, things that I want to take out, like this big pink shrub, which I love, and it's beautiful, and it literally flowers almost all year long, but it's too big for this garden bed and in the spot that it's in. So I'm going to take cuttings of it, but I'm also going to transplant it. Now, I'm probably not going to transplant it this growing season. I've kind of run out of time now. I'd rather transplant it in winter when it's not dormant, because it's an evergreen, but when it's not in its active growth and flowering. So I do need to move that, but at the moment I'm just going to admire it for what it is, which is a beautiful shrub with these gorgeous pink flowers, and the bees love it. So we'll start at this end. This is the shadier end of the garden, and the end, or a bed, sorry, and the part that I need to develop the most. I've got some hydrangeas in here, but they're not doing great. I think maybe they don't get enough sun here. But they have both put on new growth, and I haven't weeded this section yet either. But so I've got this one here and this little one here, which has pushed some new growth from the bottom, so that's promising. I've got this beautiful Weigela up the back here, which has pink flowers, and some of the flowers are pale and some of them are deeper. And I'm not sure if that's because as they fade they change colour or not. But it's really lovely. And I've got this salvia here, which I cut back hard. It's got this big long growth bit here because it rooted itself. So I've left this plant here for now, and then I'm actually going to dig up this little bit of it, and I can put that somewhere else. This is the main bit up here, and it's re-rooted itself here. I've got a couple of peonies that have come up, but they've never really flowered, and I'm surprised they even came up, to be honest. This is new, and I can't remember what it's called, but I put this in on the weekend. And then where these stakes are in the weeds, that's a dahlia that will come up. I've got two roses in here that I need to put protection around. So there's one here, and there's this big one here which I need to prune and then put a cage around, and there's one behind it as well that I'll cage in. I've got this cherry blossom here, which I will put photos in of some of the flowers. Flowers have sort of finished now. There are a couple of ground covers under here that have been swamped. There's this lovely little iris. It's like a running iris, so it sort of self-spreads itself around. And then this is this pretty little pink shrub. I can't remember what it's called, but it is very pretty. So I've got a gap here that I need to fill because I pulled out some iris that was going to get swamped by the penstemon. There's a lavender back behind there. I'm sorry about the sun, I'm hoping you can still see. Nepeta down here. There's another cottage plant next to it that I can't remember what it is. There's a sedum there, and here is another dahlia that will come up. There's a native back there, that little purple flower. Got some iris here. These are allium bulbs that come up and never flower. Oh, you can't, I'm trying to focus in on this spider web. No, you can't see it. Penstemon here. Some more iris. This is my beautiful flowering forest pansy, red bud. And the flowers are finished now, or they're sort of finishing up and the leaves are starting to come out, and I will put in some video and photos of that if you haven't already seen it. It was absolutely beautiful this year. It's the best it's flowered. It's been in here as long as the garden bed has, so it's about 3 years now. Best flowering so far. I put this new little thyme ground cover in on the weekend, really pretty. There's a couple of salvias here and some more iris. The one at the back there, which will go around the other side, has flower buds on it. Pink cushion flower there, looking beautiful. And then this coming up here is a perennial. It's a little, it's like that purple bellflower. And these are 2 perennials here as well, and don't ask me what they're called. Lambsy, more iris, and I popped this daisy in on the weekend down here. I thought it was just so pretty. Flowers. So we'll walk around the other side now. Okay, so we'll go up the path here. So this section of the backyard is not landscaped at all yet, and my rubbish heap is over there, and then up there is a whole lot of weeds. It's very rocky in this section, so I'd love to have a birch forest through here, but I'm not sure that's going to happen with all the rocks. I'm going to have to see what happens there, but I'm sort of focusing on this end at the moment. So this is our little wood pile shed here, because our fire pit is just there. So here's a look at the garden from here. Love these textures and colours together. It's really starting to fill out now. Some of the flowers are really, or the plants are really spreading out, like this pink cushion plant, and it's just covered in buds at the moment. So pretty, such a gorgeous colour, and it's really spreading itself out now, which is wonderful. Got some iris here going to flower, and across on this side, just tripped on a rock. This one is a new one that I put in last year, so it's flowering for the first time. It's absolutely beautiful. And this little ground cover that I put in has taken over everywhere, which is great because it is smothering the weeds. But it has these really pretty little purple flowers, which I didn't know it would flower, so that was a nice surprise. We've got a salvia there that's I cut back and it's all leafed out again, which is great. There's a little pink flowering thing there, which I think I'm going to have to move. It's getting swamped by this silver thing. Don't you love that I just don't know the names of anything? I just never remember what they are when I put them in. So this is a rose that I put in last year or the year before, and I've caged it on the weekend because the possums come along and they love to eat the new growth on the roses. So they eat the new fresh young leaves. I've not really noticed them eating flowers, and they don't eat the leaves once they're more mature. It's just the fresh young shoots and the young leaves. So once they've sort of leafed out and like their leaves are a bit more mature, they kind of leave them alone. So at least that's what I think they're doing. So I've caged this one because, as you can see, a lot of its new growth was all chomped down, and it is starting to push more new growth. But to protect it from the possums, I put the cage around it. Now, possums could climb this cage, but they don't seem to. Whenever I've caged things from the possums, they then just seem to leave it alone, even though they're quite capable of climbing that chicken wire and going over it. They just seem to just not bother. So that seems to be the thing that works the most. So up here, here's this lovely native, and then got another salvia there. I've got here, this is a dahlia coming up. That's a little pom-pom one. I can't remember what this is called, but this has a beautiful purple flower, and I'm pruning this one into a ball. And there's some butterfly Gloria here. That's a white one coming back up. Then I was about to plant, I think I just walked this one, I guess I did. I was going to plant one of my new plants here in this spot, but then I noticed that one of my perennials is coming back. And we've got more of the pink cushion flower here with a lovely little ground cover and a new daisy that I put in, and lots of forget-me-nots that have self-seeded, and I just let them self-seed. I pull them out where I need to, where I want to put in a different plant, but otherwise I just sort of leave them to spread around. But I love this little mix here of all these flowers playing together. I thought you just think that's so pretty and very cottagey. So these steps, this is a stepping stone path that does lead to the other side, but at the moment you can't walk through because of the this big pink shrub. So once I've pruned and moved this, then I will be able to access through here. Because it's quite a deep bed, it is handy to be able to zip through here, and also to bring the hose through here. So I do want to reinstate that pathway. Here's the blossom, which has gone over. The flowers didn't last very long on this one this time round. Focus. Yeah, the flowers didn't last too long on this one, and it sort of blossomed down the bottom and it didn't really blossom up the top too well, so but that's okay. There's another dahlia that should hopefully come up there. Another one of the pink cushion flowers here is the salvia, and then this is the part obviously that I haven't weeded. I've just been doing it in stages. That's the other rose that I need to cage. And then this is a ground cover. There's the Weigelia. And then back through there, I won't go through there because I haven't really done much in there. That's a lily pilly. I'd love to take it out, to be honest. I don't really like it. I'm not a big fan of lily pillies. And this side is the next side that I need to work on. So the lovely original on here and this thing here. And then I've started to take out, I had put in these stone using the river pebbles sort of swales, or like mini retaining walls, but I'm actually thinking now that the soil has kind of settled of taking them out and using them elsewhere in the garden. And what I think I'm going to do is get more Japanese box, and I think I'm going to do a Japanese box hedge along here. So there'll be a little bit of garden bed in front, and then the Japanese box, and then I'll do another one here where I've got the rocks going. I'll do another Japanese box hedge there, just to add some interest, some winter interest in this area, and just as a continuation from the hedge down in the lower section. So I think that would look really nice to have that hedge there. My magnolia up here is looking beautiful. It's put on a lot of growth. So has my camellia over here. This is a hebe that I need to take out. Half of it died back, so I'm just going to ditch that and start fresh in here. This is a beautiful azalea, and it has just flowered so well this spring. This was one of my mum's, so I got this when she moved. And up the back there is another hydrangea. That one's put a lot of growth. That's a variegated one. So this section of the garden, of the cottage beds here, has my crepe myrtle in it. which has leafed out. It always is the last of the deciduous trees in my yard to leaf out. I'm not sure why, and it always makes me worried that it's not going to leaf out, but it has, which is great. So this section here has been here for a while, but last year I started to expand it. So I've expanded it up the back here, and I've started marking out where there's going to be beds here. There's a new bed here, and then I extended this first bed all the way down here. So this is all in its second year of growth now, or second year of being here. And these snapdragons are just absolutely beautiful. And I always thought that snapdragons were annuals, but these ones I planted last year and they have come back. I planted 3 and 2 of them have come back. So this one and this one back in here. And the flowers, as you can see, they're on quite nice tall stems, so they make really lovely cut flowers, but I try not to cut them too much because they're just so pretty and they've just got such a gorgeous colour. I'm so happy that they did come back. And if I see, I just got them from Bunnings in a punnet, so if I see them again I am going to get more, because I've tried growing snapdragons from seed and I have some to try again, and I just am not very good at it. So if I can get them in punnets, then perfect. So this one I put in on the weekend to fill in some gaps. You've got an Aquilegia there. This is that little ground cover again. It's all mingling all in around. I've got some cornflowers here, some seedlings that I popped in, and these ones here I bought the same little punnet last year and popped them in here, and I made sure to try and leave the flowers to go to seed, and I'm glad I did because they have popped up all through here, self-seeded, which is fantastic. This little lavender here, really pretty. I've got a rose back there, which I need to make the cage on that one a little bit bigger because the possums really hacked at that one when I put it in last year, and it has since put on a lot of growth, which I'm really happy about because I think that one is Charlotte Bronte, and I would have been devastated if I lost that one. It's a pretty little white salvia back there. I'm not sure what this thing is. It could be a weed, but I want to see what this flower does because I feel like this is a plant that I planted, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to wait and see what that does. And then, oh, there's another one of the snapdragons. So that one's come back as well. And lovely big, I love this. This is great for a ground cover. I love how the flowers come up on these long stems and hang above the foliage. And I love how the foliage has got this like ferny texture to it. So I like to just pop this in and around the place, which is great. I popped in these 2 little ground covers on the weekend. They're so pretty, cute little delicate flowers. And I also popped this in. There's a little, oh no, it's jumped off. There's a little bug on there. This little pretty purple plant that I can't remember what it is. Again, I love the ferny type texture of that. It's really lovely. Then these lavenders have been in here since this part of the garden bed was made, so they've been in here quite a few years now. They're doing quite well still. They're quite woody at the base, but they still look pretty good. This is another little ground cover they popped in on the weekend. This one isn't in flower at the moment, but it's got lovely little blue flowers. And then around here, got another one of these. The ground cover one's a pink one. I've got a salvia there that's not doing too well. I'm not sure if it gets enough sun, so I may need to move that one. This is a perennial nemesia. My camera does not want to focus properly. Beautiful purple colour on this one. Let's try to get, there we go, in the shade. It was looking very sad when I planted it, but it's looking a lot better now. And then this one, this Focus. This azalea from my kitchen window is just like this beacon of neon pink. It is absolutely glorious. It is starting to finish now, but, and I'll put photos and videos in of this, it's just like this beacon of bright neon pink gorgeousness from my kitchen window. Your eye just automatically is drawn up to it, and it's just, as you can see, it was absolutely covered in blooms. So now that it is finishing flowering, I'm actually going to give this a prune, because I'd really love to sort of shape this into a bit more of a ball type shape. It's got this long branch coming out, which I need to sort of, I want to make it into a bit more of a tidy shape, that one. So here's just a little look, scan down here. So I'm really happy with how this section of the garden is coming along and starting to fill out now. And it's been really lovely this spring to have some spring flowers. I feel like I quite often miss spring flowers, and then always have a lot of flowers in summer, because by then I've got the dahlias and the zinnias all blooming. But I'm really happy with how this is coming along. So yeah, that's a little tour of my cottage garden beds.